We're going to talk some of the medical issues around the area, bringing in Michael Stoiko. He's with the Betty H. Cameron Children's and Women's and Children's Hospital over at New Hanover Regional Medical Center. Today, talking about something, again, I always feel like I'm educated in these segments. Yeah. The reduction of pediatric CAT scans and why we want to reduce these. So let's go right off the bat. What is the reason that we want to reduce the number of CAT scans in children?
Well, we have very good evidence that CAT scans, even though they are very useful, they can be life-saving in many situations, are being overused. The number of CAT scans that's been being done in the United States over the last 10, 15 years continues to go up because they are convenient, because they do give us a lot of information, but they also have risks. And in fact, every time a CAT scan is done, there's a small but real risk of a child developing cancer as an adult because of the exposure to the radiation.
And you threw a number at me, was it 1 in 250?
Some, depending on the scan and depending on the child, particularly young females, that the risk can be as high as 1 in 250 or 300 that down the line they will develop cancer because of the CAT scan.
With this being the case, when is it appropriate and almost we have to use this procedure for a child?
In many situations with a trauma, for example, a child who's been in a severe car accident and has multiple injuries, we absolutely have to do a CAT scan or CAT scans to quickly identify potentially life-threatening injuries. We also have other situations where that is the quickest way to find out if a child needs surgery, for example, or has something life-threatening going on. There are good data, though, now, very good data, that show us which children wouldn't need a CAT scan because the chance of finding something is so low, or what we would find wouldn't be significant, but exposing them to the radiation would.
X-rays an option, a viable option instead of the CAT scan?
In a few situations, but not all. Most of the time, if your physician's telling you the child needs a CAT scan, they do, but we may also tell you they don't, and we still get pushback from people saying, oh, I just want to get that just to be safe. It's not being safe. If we overuse it, if we use it in an inappropriate situation, we're taking a risk without any benefit.
And you made a good point to me. I had brought up the MRI being a magnet-based
yes.
tool, but you had said something, and as soon as you said it, I thought of my wife. You can't keep a child still long enough to do an MRI. A lot of people have the fear being in the enclosed space, but with a child, they're just always fidgeting.
So in an emergency situation, again, like the child who's been in a severe car accident, whatever, they would have to undergo general anesthesia, and the scanning would take much longer, so it ends up being not as helpful, particularly in a life-threatening situation. So we will use MRI when we can, but sometimes we can't.
And is this one of those, and I'll ask you this pretty quickly, to where you really have to trust the word of the physician when they tell you, we don't need this test?
Yes, we have educated everybody at New Hanover, and all of our emergency departments is aware of all of the evidence-based guidelines for when we should be doing a CAT scan and when we shouldn't. We may ask that you keep your child at the hospital for 6 hours for observation afterward to make certain that they're going to do fine, but don't demand a CT if the physician is telling you they don't need one.
Sure. It's just, again, the education that I get from here, we'll pass it on to you as well. This, to me, was very good information. It's something I had no idea about. I appreciate that this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We're back with more after this.